See, they never had a book, they only knew it by memory. There are memory cultures that have flawless eidetic imagery. So when you say in gospel criticism or that second generation, the church made up these, no, forget that. You're just out of work, you know, I hear what you're doing. And you stay off the streets, see, by talking like that. You're not talking about anything that's defensible, but it's high level, it's from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, so you know it's good. You know, it has to be. I don't know that at all, but that's, yes?
The question has been bothering me for a long time. Given the fact that the scripture is verbally conveyed, given the fact that the current generation we're trying to reach is visually oriented,
Correct.
what do we do?
Well, there's no possibility because even PowerPoints have to be what?
Text.
No.
What do you mean?
Have to be interpreted.
Oh, yeah.
Have to be interpreted. But should we go to graphics instead of text?
Well, no, because a graphic, uninterpreted graphic would be a seeker friend in making up your own meaning.
Ink blot.
Yeah, it's a Rorschach.
You
It's a
could
theological
act out
Rorschach.
messages
Well, you
back.
throw a bucket of paint up on the wall and say, that's a marvelous work of art. I said, it looked like a mess to me. It's a $10,000 recovery in my wall there, but it's Picasso, it's worth $1 million.
She made a good point.
You could act
Drama.
out passages in the Bible in skits.
Drama
You
narrative.
don't want to do language.
Do what?
Do language. If you don't want to write it and read it, act it out.
But see, but you have to, a drama has to be to make sense out of the drama, the
Use language,
movements.
of course. But it's not written.
Even if you're in a mute situation, what do you have to do?
What?
Sign. You have to communicate. See, you can't be locked in non-language situation. Even if you're deaf. You heard of Helen Keller? Well, how can this deaf person get out of deafness in the sound? Now, this is the word. People can do that. You can get out of that cage and get out and talk about the world. A blind person can get out of his blind limitation by what? Bibles in this and Braille. I can't read Braille, but a blind person can. So there's communication. Huh? So they're out of this cage to do that. So there's a way out. See, if there's no way out, we're in an insane asylum. See, that's why Helen Keller and all these people in this magnificent period of history were striving to get out of it. They couldn't hear what people were saying, but they knew they were saying, so how can we get out? So they had to have a code that was transmittable. And each listener cannot have his own, her own code. There has to be a code.
Standard.
Oh, just put it that, thank you very much. That would be a standard. Well, you couldn't communicate if everybody had their own standard, could you? Well, but they do communicate, so it is it's possible. We don't have to discuss the possibility. Same thing, hearing, sight impaired, cross-cultural language structure. Now, I mentioned this before, but in the Second World War, what made, ultimately, good or bad, I'm not discussing that, but what made the Second World War in Asia possible on somebody's side? I can't think.
Breaking in the code.
Whose language? Think, Navajo.
Navajo,
That's right.
Navajo is the most complex language known. No.
One of the three.
And if it isn't known, well, you can't discuss about it. Well, you see, they had protectors. They had 6 to 12 people protecting them for their lives to make sure these people were not killed.
Navajo in each end. Japanese never figured it out.
See, if they had them, that was the only code that they couldn't what? So when they couldn't break them, then they couldn't intercept them. So as long as they could intercept them, they could break them and be there. How did they know that? Well, they broke the code.
We broke their code, they never broke ours.
See, we won because our Navajo wind talkers.
Yeah.
Right. No, wasn't there a linguist who claimed to be able to you know, he said he did performances and stuff like that. He said bring me any language and with a certain number of characters, I could.
Oh, I've
can't remember
seen
the name.
Ken Pike.
Kenneth Pike. No, we had Kenneth Pike at an unnamed school.
My dad
I've
saw that.
seen Kenneth Pike.
Yeah, my daughter saw him do it.
Kenneth Pike was, he didn't choose, but a non-American English-speaking person, their language, had never heard of the language. And in 10 minutes, he could identify the nouns and the verbs in that sentence.
That's amazing.
It's at least amazing, let's put it that way.
The man was a genius.
He's a genius. Not just an intelligent person. There's a difference between an intelligent person and a genius. A genius sees farther. An intelligent person only knows what someone already knows. He just knows more than what other people are. But a genius sees people what no one's ever seen before.
Ken Pike listened to a language he'd never heard and said to the translator, Sonia, there's another tense in there that you haven't detected. You better
And he
look for it."
heard that. He was just listening. And it took him 10 minutes to have 12 words up on the board. And the speaker said, that's right. It has to be testable. You can't just make up words. But he never heard it. Oh, no, I've seen this. I don't like him at all. No. That's not just intelligence. It's way past that. And Pike and Nida, they're Togmimics. If you're interested, I have my Togmimics paper. Pike and Nida, their theory of Togmimics is the first and only Christian view of language. Christian Togmimics mean that there's nothing in one language that can't be translated in another. Now that better be true if the Bible is to be taken seriously. I didn't say it was true, but I said it better be true. And those men worked in over 50 languages. I don't like them at all. They set a bad example for the rest of us. You know, IQ, shoe size, and single-digit IQ. You know that don't. But this is amazing, amazing. To that, I've seen him 2 different languages that he never heard of, and it could have been 10 or 15 minutes because the whole thing was an hour.
Amazing.
And the person, that's correct. Phonemics, phonetics. I just heard you. I never heard of the language, but I can tell by listening. See, when he was called in 1932-34 among the Mexican Indians, he was in linguistic category, and this is Big Brother looking at me, isn't it, Giant?
There's a satellite
Okay.
hookup feed here.
Very sad light there. Well, anyway, he was of the Mixtec Indians. The Mixtec Indians lied culturally as a norm. Now, this seems simple, but it is not simple. They lied. Now, how do you have a culture if everybody lies? This is their norm. This is not Liars Incorporated and going to school how to lie. But they lied, but they liked him because he was trying to help the people. They didn't understand that. He was missionary. And the chief sent big 2 talking walls to his tent one day, you know, about 9 foot tall. They thought one day they'd kill him. And said the chief had asked for your presence for the evening meal. Well, that was amazing. Good. We'd never done that before. So here's what he did. Notice this. It seems so simple. It seems like a high school play, but it isn't. He didn't go. And they sent these big talking walls to the kids. Said, do you realize that you've insulted the high priest here? He said, what? He said he invited you to come. And you lied. He said, I got you. Now, it's all right for you to lie to me, but it isn't all right for you to lie to you. Why not? He broke in and the whole tribe became Christian over this simple thing. They understood. You can't lie, so don't blame this person for lying because he's been trained by you people. No. See just how simple. Eugene Nida broke into the Mexican Indian with that procedure. See, it seems so simple. It sounds like a high school sermon or a high school camp sermon or a chapel sermon. No. That is world-changing phenomenon.
Yeah.
Changing phenomenon. And only a genius would be aware of that. Everybody else would be beheaded, see, but that big guy. So anyway, marvelous, and as I said, you've heard him sing, but it's amazing just how on earth I can listen. I couldn't tell that whether it's a gerund or a noun or whatever it is. He says, "What? Yes, that's what it is. That's what it said." That's how you have to tell a checker. It's like a wind talker. If you didn't have a Navajo that could speak English, you couldn't communicate.
Or Japanese. And Japanese.
And Japanese. You got to do all those, baby. That means you can cross languages and create the message that you wanted to convey. So any receptive language doesn't create a new message because we're postmodern. And we all see differently and all hear differently. Oh, no, you might, but you don't change this message. You don't have to believe it or like it, but don't change the message. That's like the Bible. You don't have to believe it or like it, but don't change it to fit your what? It's just that simple. And the same would be, I told you this, I think it was I here yesterday?
You were, yeah.
All right, I mentioned this. In 1995, it's the last time I went on this information. There are 223 registered organizations in the United States with the government registered. And they have to put their core beliefs on what do you stand for, why should we register you. And there is no organization that doesn't have core beliefs. They have to be registered if you're going to be government, okay. And you don't have to believe the beliefs, but if you're going to belong to this organization, what? This is what you're going to have to believe. Even, why would you want to belong if you didn't believe? That's like the church. We don't believe the Bible, we want to belong to your church. What for?
The finger foods are good.
Because the donuts are new. We have brand new donuts every Sunday morning. We've got that baby coming right through here. And you have youth. The elders voted not to spend any more money on mace for the children. And said we can't, it's very expensive. And if the kids get on the ceiling, just live them there. And we have children whose parents leave them there 3 or 4 weeks without picking them up. Oh, they don't